Director Demagawa rants inside the Sakura TV conference room, his voice booming with frustration. He demands his staff find a fresh angle for their Kira special as ratings are starting to slip. He believes the other networks are too scared to touch the real stories that viewers want.
A nervous staff member points out that the police haven't released any new information lately. He argues that without official leads, they are effectively stuck in a hopeless loop. The atmosphere in the room is thick with smoke and the mounting pressure of meeting Demagawa's impossible demands.
Demagawa slams his hand on the table, shouting that if they cannot find a good story, they must simply create one. He is indifferent to the truth, focusing solely on grabbing the public's attention. He orders them to use any means necessary to keep the audience tuned in. The director suggests manufacturing convincing graphs and using catchy quotes from the public to support their narrative. He claims that over 50% of people surveyed support Kira, and they should highlight this. His goal is to manipulate the viewer's perceptions through carefully crafted media segments.
The scene shifts to the quiet, sterile environment of Baraki Hospital, where Soichiro Yagami lies in a recovery bed. Light and his mother, Sachiko, sit vigilantly by his side. The contrast between the chaotic TV station and the somber hospital room highlights the personal toll of Kira.
Light expresses his deep concern, noting that his father suffered a heart attack even though he was not a target. He wonders aloud if the stress of the job was the primary cause. He looks at his mother, trying to provide comfort during this incredibly difficult family crisis.
L arrives at the hospital, his presence immediately changing the room's dynamic. He suggests that Kira has more reason to want Soichiro dead than anyone else. He notes that the leader of the task force is a significant obstacle that Kira would naturally want to remove permanently.
Soichiro admits that the thought of Kira targeting him had crossed his mind while he was collapsing. He remains steadfast in his duty, however, telling his family that he must return to the case. His commitment to justice outweighs his own physical health and his family's desperate pleas.
Sachiko tells Light that he should head home now that she is there to look after his father. She wants to ensure her son gets some rest, despite the ongoing investigation. She tries to maintain a sense of normalcy in the face of their family's sudden, terrifying misfortune.
L discusses the heavy psychological burden of having a son who was a primary suspect in a mass murder case. He observes Soichiro's reaction closely, looking for any signs of doubt or hidden knowledge. His clinical approach to the situation creates a palpable tension within the small room.
Light confronts Ryuzaki about the fact that he revealed the secret investigation to his father. He questions L's motives for being so transparent with a man in such a fragile state. Light is clearly frustrated by how L is handling the social dynamics of the Kira investigation.
L confirms that he has told Soichiro everything, including his true identity as the Detective L. He explains that transparency was necessary given the circumstances of the case. He watches Light's eyes, searching for a slip in his facade as they discuss the progress of the hunt.
Light reflects on the danger of being too hasty while watching L's every move in the hospital. He realizes that he must remain perfectly composed to avoid triggering any further suspicion from the detective. He wonders if his father's belief in him is actually protecting his secret identity.
Soichiro tells Ryuzaki that his comments regarding Light's possible involvement are incredibly precise. He finds it difficult to reconcile his son's character with the profile of a cold-blooded killer. He urges L to consider the possibility that his deductions might be leading him toward a false conclusion.
L apologizes for his bluntness, but maintains that he much prefers hearing the absolute truth over comforting lies. He believes that only by facing the harsh realities can they hope to catch Kira. He asks Light to have a little consideration for his father's current medical condition.
Soichiro tells Light to focus on his studies and not worry about the investigation for the time being. He believes Light has plenty of time to join the NPA after he graduates. He wants his son to have a normal life, free from the darkness of the Kira case.
Lee explains that his suspicion was based on the fact that Kira had access to task force computers. He mentions the 12 FBI agents who were murdered on December 27. He notes that the file containing their information was received on that exact day, pointing to an inside leak.
Light listens intently as Elle describes the possibility of Kira being a member of the task force. He realizes Elle is narrowing the search to the families of those involved in the investigation. He maintains a look of shocked realization, playing the part of the innocent, helpful student.
Elle brings up the specific case of Ray Penber and his missing fiancé, who was also an agent. He notes that she was in Japan and disappeared shortly after Penber's death. He finds these actions curious and noteworthy, suggesting Kira was actively removing anyone who got too close.
Light realizes that Elle has narrowed the focus of his investigation down to the Kitamura and Yagami families. He understands that because the FBI was probing them, they became the primary suspects in Elle's mind. He is impressed by the detective's cold, calculating logic and his persistent focus.
Lee praises Light's deductive abilities, noting that his powers of logic are truly outstanding. He admits that he cannot fault Light for being suspicious of his own methods. He remains convinced that the real killer is someone with a high level of intelligence and access to police data.
Light smiles and tells Ryuzaki that he will help with the investigation to prove his innocence once and for all. He vows to catch the real Kira for his father and for himself. His confidence is a calculated move designed to earn Elle's trust, or at least delay him.
Soichiro looks at his son with pride, moved by Light's determination to help the police catch the killer. He believes his son's heart is in the right place and that he will make a fine officer. He is completely unaware of the dark battle of wits occurring before him.
Light swears that if anything happens to his father, he will personally ensure that Kira receives the death penalty. He speaks with such conviction that even Elle seems to momentarily pause. He uses his father's condition as a shield to deflect any remaining suspicion away from his activities.
Elle asks Light what kind of person he envisions Kira to be, trying to get a glimpse into his mind. He wants to know if Light sees Kira as a hero or a monster. This question is a psychological trap, designed to see if Light reveals his own ideologies.
Light suggests that Kira might be an affluent child who is using the power to make the world better. He argues that a younger person would be more likely to act on a sense of misguided justice. He tries to frame the profile in a way that sounds objective.
Elle agrees that a child might use the power for an ideal, but an adult would use it for gain. He thinks Kira is someone who likely has access to a cell phone, computer, and television. He describes a profile that perfectly matches Light's own daily habits and social standing. Elle suddenly shifts the topic to Light's younger sister, Sayu, asking if Kira would target her next. He questions if Light would be willing to sacrifice his own family to finish off his father. The bluntness of the question shocks everyone in the room, creating a moment of horror.
Soichiro shouts at Ryuzaki, telling him that he has gone way too far with his baseless accusations. He refuses to believe his son could ever be capable of such a monstrous act against his own flesh and blood. He defends Light's character with everything he has left in him.
Light tells his father that he's been starting to think Kira is truly evil lately. He agrees with Soichiro's sentiment that the power to kill people is the real evil. He skillfully aligns himself with his father's morals to further cement his innocence in the eyes of the police.
Elle reflects that anyone who finds themselves with the power of Kira is truly cursed. He believes that obtaining such power can never bring true happiness to a human being. He looks at Light with a mixture of suspicion and a strange, distant kind of pity for his situation. Elle apologizes for his behavior and says he will return to work as soon as he is able. He is still feeling the effects of his recent collapse, but remains driven by the case. He prepares to leave the hospital, signaling the end of the tense bedside confrontation.
Light and Elle walk out of the hospital together, the atmosphere outside much cooler than the room they left. Light asks Elle if he truly doesn't trust him at all after everything they've been through. He wants to know if Elle's suspicion is purely logical or something more personal.
Elle stares at Light, his eyes dark and unreadable. He tells Light that it feels terrible to be suspected of being Kira, but his feelings don't change the facts. He is still looking for a way to prove his theory, regardless of how much Light tries to appear helpful.
Light asks why Elle would suggest something as extreme as locking him up for a month to clear his name.
He finds the idea absurd and a violation of his rights. He challenges L to find a better way to conduct the investigation without resorting to such drastic measures.
L admits that Light has a point, but he is reconsidering his stance because of Light's behavior today. He notes how Light acted toward his father and how that influenced his current assessment of the situation. He isn't ready to let Light go just yet, however, keeping his options open.
Light says goodbye to Elle and watches as the detective drives away in his car. He reflects on his duty to help the investigation once his father's health has stabilized. He feels the weight of the dual life he is leading, constantly balancing his public persona with Kira's mission.
Light thinks about the misfortune that Al mentioned, wondering if he really is cursed by the Death Note. He looks up at the sky, contemplating the future he is trying to build. He remains determined to succeed, no matter the cost to himself or to those around him.
Ryuk laughs his signature, chilling laugh, watching Light from the shadows. He tells Light that he couldn't care less whether the notebook makes him happy or unhappy. He is only here for the entertainment, and the drama between Light and L is providing plenty of it today. The Shinigami notes that as a rule, humans haunted by his kind have nothing but misfortune in their lives. He finds it amusing that Light considers himself a lucky break in this grand, tragic design. He flies off into the night, leaving Light alone with his dark, secret thoughts. A few days later at Sakura TV, the atmosphere is frantic as usual. Director Demagawa receives a special delivery from an unknown sender. He jokes about it being a mail bomb, but his curiosity is piqued by the mysterious package. He quickly opens the envelope to see what is inside.
Demagawa pulls out 4 videotapes, labeled 1 through 4. He is confused at first, but his expression quickly turns to one of intense excitement. He realizes that this could be the big break he has been waiting for to save his show's falling ratings and gain fame.
He reads the accompanying note, which states that the sender is Kira. The note claims that the proof is on the first videotape. It instructs the station to broadcast the other 3 tapes on national television at specific dates and times to prove Kira's power to everyone.
The note contains a terrifying threat. If the tapes are not broadcast as instructed, Kira will kill the board of directors. The murders will start with the company president and proceed down the line. Demagawa is both terrified and exhilarated by the insane scale of this new development. Demagawa grins, his eyes wide with the realization that he is holding a message from Kira that will be sent to the entire world. He doesn't care about the risk. He only sees the massive opportunity. He prepares to launch the most controversial broadcast in the history of television.